Hi guys, this is Streamer Carlos. On today's video, I'm gonna give you my review of Kim Possible episode 3, season 1, the monster of the ugly the monster of ugly green chili lake. So with that being said, guys, here we go with this. I really love this third episode because again we get to see Kim and Ron outside of Middleton. But this time unlike episode 2, we don't travel with Kim and Ron as the audience, as viewers of Kim Possible, to Paris or outside of the country. This time we are going camping. This time we go camping. We see this episode is all about camping. To be more specific, Ron's camping pass. Yes, back in the day, before Kim and Ron, before Kim became famous and before she boom her website made a boom. Ron when camping to this camp called Camp Wanaweep. And of course, and this is one of my favorite things about this episode, is that this episode has a lot of scary or horror movie aspects, which again, guys, I do not like. But anyway, this is why. First of all, Camp Wanaweep isn't your typical campground. Isn't your typical camp. According to Ron, it's a place of torture and horror, which any camp would be if you were in a classic scary movie. Because let's be honest, guys, if you combine camp and scary movie, if you combine those three words together, you get a very horrifying soup of horror. But in this case, Camp Wanaweep checks all the boxes. To be more specifically, for Ron. But tragically for Ron, he's back. To be more specific, he's not back by himself with Rufus, as is including Rufus. This time, he is going on this field trip to a competition, a cheerleading competition with Kim and the rest of the cheerleading team of cheerleading team of their high school. And to Ron's misfortune, the original venue of the cheerleading competition is shut down. And to exacerbate, to increase Ron's pain, the resting place and stopping place for the team is Camp Guadalupe after Mr. Barkin, who is a teacher slash coach for the football team, is driving the bus and on the road back home, or they stumble the bus. The wheel gets deflated by a weirdly placed nail on the road. And to give you a little bit of background on Mr. Barker, he and Ron have a very, very funny, contentious teacher love and hate relationship. Or yes, a very funny teacher hate, student hate relationship throughout the series. But in this episode we get our first taste of what this relationship would be later on in the series. And just to add, and Kim would be also in the crosshairs of Mr. Barkin's strict teaching orders. To be more specific, in the next episode, which again I'll do a review as well. But anyway, Ron and Mr. Barkin have this funny love hate relationship. But anyway, then just to make sure, Ron talks to Wade in the Kim communicator, and says to Wade, can you give me the coordinates, or can you show me the GPS directions, just to make sure that I'm not seeing stuff. And in fact, and then Wade shows Ron the GPS directions, and Ron is not wrong. Mr. Barkin, who's driving the bus, who's driving the team, is going in the direction towards the tortured place that Ron hates, Camp Guadalupe. And Ron, rightfully so, is freaking out. It freaks out Bonnie, tells tells Kim that your friend is acting acting more weird than usual. Side note, Ron is on this trip because is on this cheerleading competition trip because he's the school mascot. He's the mad dog. So anyway, Ron is the mascot of the cheerleading team of Middleton. So that's why he's there. But anyway, after Bonnie said that to Kim about Ron, that he's acting a little bit weirder than usual and just being extra Ron. Kim halfly agrees with Bonnie. Halfly agrees with Bonnie, but at the end of this short conversation, Kim, in a way, without saying these specific words, to Bonnie, Kim says, "Leave Ron alone. Leave Ron alone." Then after stopping, then we see the team, the whole cheerleading team, the team trying to get a signal from their phones, but there's no sign, there's no signal. So Mr. Barkin says, well guys, I guess we will have to wait here for help to get back home. And of course Ron is like freaking out, which again, who can blame him? And of course Kim starts to take the lead in this situation, but Ron says, "Kim, wait, Kim. Yes, normally you take the lead in our missions, but this is my time and you don't know what I know about this horrible and horrifying place known as Camp Wannaweep. So let me take the lead. Let me guide you through this through these woods of the camp of torture for me." So luckily for Ron, Mr. Barkin says, "Stoppable, you got it. You lead us. Lead the way." And so Ron leads the way. And then Ron sees a phone pole, or a pole with a phone, and we get a flashback. From Ron's camping days back in the day, and he's calling his mom, he's talking to his mom from this telephone pole or phone pole, and and Ron is like to his mom, "Mom, get me out of this, get me out of it, get me out of this, get me out of this horrible, horrible, horrible place." And to me, that is cool. To me, that's another thing. Another thing that basically makes episode 3 one of my favorites from season 1 of Kim Possible, because we get a flashback. We get a flashback. So with that being said, after this flashback that we get from Ron's early, from back in the day at Camp Wannaweep, then the team walks a little bit further into the woods of Camp Wannaweep, and then Ron hears a very strange noise, which would end up being a tiny, innocent squirrel. But then we get another flashback. In this flashback, we see Ron trying to scare off evil squirrels with Sith, with red dark side eyes. Again, sorry, paying an homage to Star Wars. Then Kim tells Ron, it's just a little squirrel. But Ron says, "No, Kim, you don't understand. These little squirrels are not tiny and cute. They're evil. They're evil." Then we get a classic scene from any camping horror movie. The team is in a circle, in a circle, gathered around a campfire, where Ron is telling the team more of his horrible experiences at Camp Wannaweep. When Kim says to the team and Ron, "I'm going to take a walk." And Mr. Barkin says, I'm coming with you. I'm coming with you. Possible. But to Kim's and Mr. Barkin's misfortune, they're stopping in their tracks when they see a mutated monster that has green mucus for green mucus just dripping out of his dripping, and this monster has scales, has fish fish scales. And the monster has a name. His name is Brandon. Now, you might say, who in the world is Brandon? Well, so Brandon, after after mucifying poor Kim and Mr. Barkin to a tree, to a pair of trees, Brandon tells Mr. Barkin and Kim, in turn, that him and Ron, that he's the culprit, or it's because of him. It's because of him they're in this predicament, and that he wants revenge on Ron, because way back in the day, him and Ron were camping mates, or they had come to Camp Wannaweep together, and the whole backstory is that Brandon was swimming in Wannaweep Lake, and just to be clear, guys, just to be clear and funny at the same time, is that the lake's water looked like an ugly green chili, like a jalapeno. But the water was this green chili water from the lake was extra mucusy in color. So, going back to the backstory, Brandon is swimming in the lake when his camp counselor tells Brandon, it's time for your arts and crafts. It's time for you to get out of the lake, and it's time for you to get out of the lake and to go to arts and crafts. But Brandon is like, no, I don't want to go. Then Ron appears. Ron appears, and knowing that, and he's looking, and Ron is looking at the water, and he realizes that the water has a weird color to it, or a mucusy color, and he decides not to get in and swim in it, but the short version of the backstory is that he offers Brandon for him to take his place in the arts and crafts class. So Ron does that, but to Ron's dismay and future danger and screaming, the ugly green chili 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 water from from Lake Wanawee had mutated Brandon to this mucusy had mutated Brandon had mutated had mutated Brandon into this mucusy fish-like monster, and that's why if it was according to Brandon, if it wasn't for Ron, he wouldn't be this mucusy, fishy, ugly green chili lake water monster. So when Ron encounters the ugly green chili monster, Brandon says, Ronnie, don't you remember me? And Ron is like, how do you know me? How do you ugly fish, ugly green chili lake monster know me, and know my name? And then Brandon says, "It's me, Brandon. Remember?" And then unlucky for Kim and Mr. Barkin, Ron screams and runs away. Which again, guys, I do not blame Ron for doing that. But to make matters worse for Kim, besides being mucified to a tree, she had to share a cabin with Bonnie. To be more specific, cabin 13, which was back in the day Ron's old cabin that he stayed in and was basically traumatized in and that thanks to this horrifying place known as Camp Wanawee. So it's doubly bad for Kim. So instead of running and screaming away for help, Ron runs towards his old cabin 13, and at this time Kim had found herself a way out to get herself unmucified from Brandon's mucus. The same thing couldn't be said for Mr. Barkin. He was still mucified to a tree. But anyway, so the team is in cabin 13. Then Ron Ron appears and says, guys, this is my this was this is where my nightmares lived in with me, lived in and breathed with me in this number 13 cabin. But luckily, I was able to get through the torture somewhat of this horrible place, because I found a hiding place, a secret hiding place to hide all my snacks, and my snacks kept me happy, and at the same time alive, and from getting more creeped out from this horrible place. So then Ron shows the team where his secret hiding place of his snacks that he had left all these years. And here's the funny part, guys, about Ron's snacks. Yes, it's disgusting and funny at the same time that the snacks that he had left all the way back when he first came to this horrible and disgusting place, according to him, were still fresh, and he shared some of his snacks with the team. To be more specific, with Tara, who was a cheerleader in the team, who at this time was crushing on Ron, who at this time was impressed with Ron's funny and scary and scary courage, and was kind of crushing on Ron and bravery. So, after showing his secret hiding place, Brandon again appeared and mucified the cabin 13 with the team inside. Where was Ron? Again, running away and screaming, which again, guys, I do not blame him for doing that. But this time he was running scared and screaming with a purpose. Because, yes, I said it. You might say, Carlos, how can you be screaming and running away and screaming for help, screaming with a purpose? Well, guys, yes, Ron was screaming and ran away and screaming because he was scared, but he was scared with a purpose, and he was like, I'm not going to run out. Yes, I know that I'm running away and screaming, but I'm going to run away and screaming with a purpose to save my friends, to save my best friend Kim from getting mucified again, or from getting nightmares from this horrible place, because I don't want Kim to suffer the same horrible psychological funny fate that I got myself from this horrible, disgusting place. So Ron and Rufus. So Ron goes underneath the floor of cabin of cabin 13, and that's where he and Rufus get rope and other items, and then Ron and Rufus commandeer a boat, that a tiny boat that is not a speedboat. But luckily for Ron, Rufus, using his naked mole rat legs, turns this slow boat into a speedboat, into a makeshift speedboat, and they speed away to get them out. But Brandon comes back. But Brandon comes back and says, I'm coming for you, Ronnie." Then Brandon chases Ron, or Brandon chases off for Ron, and then Ron gets on Miami Vice, kind of, or on Miami Vice, and the same rope, and the rope that Rufus and Ron got, they were able to tie it up, or were able to tie it up to a buoy, and unlucky for Brandon, he got to one of his fins stuck or tied up too, while he was chasing towards Ron, and he got one of his fins tied up to this rope, and then Rufus was able to first get himself to safety from the boat. Then we see Ron, or before Rufus gets away safely, we see Ron tell Brandon, did you forget that I'm good with my arts and crafts still? Then we see the boat speed up with Brandon still attached, with Brandon's fin still stuck, or roped in to the rope, roped in the speedboat, or the makeshift speedboat, is launched up in is launched up in the air, and the boat lands onto the roof, crashes down onto the roof of cabin 13. Then the next day, or the following morning, Ron is hailed like a superhero, like Superman. Like Superman, and then a cop that obviously Kim and Ron know from way back in the day before, that they both helped before Kim's website became such a booming success. The policeman says, Ron, Kim, you saved the day. And Kim says to the policeman, no, this time I didn't save the day, Ron did. You should thank Ron. You should thank Ron. Then Kim says to Ron, I'm very proud of you, Ron. Sure, you ran away and screamed yourself and ran away, but you knew your place. You knew your way around this creepy and disgusting place, and I'm very proud of you for that. Then Bonnie tells Ron in a sarcastic Bonnie way, thank you for saving us, or whatever this is, whatever you did, thank you. Then we see Tara thank Ron as well, and she gives Ron a kiss on the cheek. Then Kim introduces Ron to a scientist that tells Ron that Ron as a scientist, is Brandon going to be okay? Then the scientist says yes, he's going to be okay. I'm going to reverse his mutation and bring him back to normal. And hopefully, when I turn him back to normal, he won't be as vengeful towards you or towards anyone else. Then Ron asks Kim, now that he has saved the day at a camp, one of at Camp Wannaweep, does this mean that I could be the leader? One of these days in one of our missions, and Kim says, we will see. And Ron is like, Kim, we will see. I know what we will see means. I'm still going to be the bait. I'm still going to be the distraction. With Rufus, of course, included. And guys, that's how this wonderful and funny episode 3 of season 1 of Kim Possible ends. So with that being said, guys, let me know what part of this episode did you like, and if you were like Ron, what would can you tell me can you put in the comments below if you can, and if you want, tell me one of the creepiest camp stories that you have experienced before, or it could be someone else's that you know, story of camp, of a creepy camp story of someone else that you know. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video. Leave a like, and bye.